So first one, how did you choose book publishing and selling as a career?
Okay. I didn't really choose it.
Okay.
I was interested in writing and I had something published, and uh when I went to publish the second thing, I couldn't find a publisher.
Mhm.
So then I decided, okay, I'm going to figure out how to do it myself.
Oh, okay. Oh, cool. All right. And then how did you get trained for it? Like, is there training? Is it like self-taught, just connections of who you knew?
Yeah, it I there was something really amazing going on at the time. I knew I wanted to self-published, but I really didn't know how to go about it. And
Mhm.
there was a company at the time, it's not there anymore, but it was called FaithWorks. And it was started by a man named Larry Carpenter, who had been president of Spring Arbor, which was a major distributor. So he
Okay.
knew the publishing world well, and he brought on fledgling publishers, authors, to bring them into his world and set them up with distribution.
Oh, cool.
And along the road, in setting us up with distribution, I basically learned the trade through that. I learned all kinds of things. So while it was kind of expensive to go that route, there was no training that could have been, I mean, it was such valuable training. There was no training that could have been that good for that. So, yeah, I did that for about 3 years.
Oh, that's so cool.
Learned a lot.
So
Yeah.
it was like, so technically you self-published through it, but then they were the distributors that
Yes,
looked into it.
exactly. They were the
Oh, neat.
distributors, and they were like a grandfather distributor, sort of. That's the best way to describe it. It
Uh-huh.
probably has another name, but that distributor then distributed to all of the other distributors that
Oh,
were
okay.
out there. So it sort of was the father distributor.
Yeah.
So that's the reason it was not cheap, because everybody took their cut all the way down. But in the meantime, I learned how to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so neat.
Yeah. So I stayed with him for about 3 years, then I went out on my own.
So then, did you work any other jobs which were helpful to lead up to the book publishing?
Well, I was a writer. I would write a lot and had a little bit of success publishing. I had a picture book published probably 8 years before that. And so, yeah, so that would be what I was doing, although I can't really call it a career because I really didn't make any sort of significant money from it.
Yeah.
It was good training.
Yeah, that's really neat though.
Hmm.
And then, what advice would you give to a new writer attempting to get their book published or sold?
Yeah,
Would you
that's
say
a
to go through a publishing house or to self-publish?
um, that's tough because I started 25 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
there has been so much change in 25 years. 25 years ago, their publishers were actually seeking new authors. They're not really seeking new authors now. They're
Yeah.
seeking authors that have a platform that is huge, that have either a huge email list or that are speaking out, and basically publishers now are just really requiring authors to be able to sell a lot of books because
Yeah.
books aren't selling. The age of digital is in,
Yeah.
and books aren't selling quite the same.
As they do.
So yeah. So now I think, as I would say 15 years ago or a little more, I would have said, oh, find a publisher. I'm not sure I would say that now because I think authors would look long and hard and they would find publishers, but there's a couple different kinds of publishers now. There are publishers that set up their shingle, and because they know a little bit about it, they'll charge a whole lot for authors and they don't do that much for them. And the
Oh,
reason I would say self-publish now is because there is so much, uh, basically, you would be, if you went with another publisher, they would be doing a lot of the work, but it's work you could do yourself, and they would be taking a a whole lot of money to do it.
Oh, okay.
So it wouldn't be very profitable. Oftentimes, it's not very profitable.
So
It's a
sometimes
hard
it's
thing selling books now.
yeah.
It's
So it's
really
almost
tough.
better to do all the work yourself so that you're not paying anyone, and then you'll be able to get any profit you do make for selling the book would go straight to you.
Right, right. Because
Okay.
there's a lot of overhead. If you're doing print books, there's a lot of overhead.
Yeah,
But
'cause I was
now,
thinking that ink and pages and stuff.
yes, digital now is probably the way I would get started if I was going to
Oh,
tell somebody get started doing some Kindle, some publishing through Kindle or Ingram Spark, which has a digital print on demand publishing, because then you don't have to buy 1,000 books and store them in your garage and pay all
yeah,
that money for them and have them not sell. So
yeah. Do you find, when people self-publish, their book still gets, like, distributed enough? Because one thing, um 'cause I took, like, a publishing class, though I didn't find it that useful, which is why I'm
uh,
glad I said interview you, because you actually have gone through it. Do you find people know about it, or is it all word of mouth, you have to go tell them about it once you've self-published?
yeah, publishing is the easy part. You get your book published and it's terrific, and you have, this, it's good for your ego and it feels really good, but it is really hard to sell books. It's
Yeah,
really hard. If you don't have some kind of a platform, people can't find you. They will never find you. You have to find them.
okay, yeah,
Yeah,
so you
buyers.
have to really, like, do your own marketing, like social media and
Yes.
okay.
What's interesting too now is the big publishers that you don't have to
Oh,
pay
big
anything. They may
5.
even give an upfront royalty. They actually require you to do your own marketing now too, whereas you
Really?
used to do a lot.
Oh, how weird.
Maybe the top 1% they'll put into marketing,
Yeah,
for people that they know, absolutely know, they have a track record, they're huge, they've sold tons of books, hundreds of thousands. They will put some money into that. But for a new author, they won't put money at all into um, marketing. It's
oh,
really,
interesting.
yeah, yeah.
That's surprising, I wouldn't have thought that with the bigger ones.
I know, and then it's very hard to get in with a bigger publishing.
Yeah,
If you're a
that's
if you're a new author, you
and
really have
is it true with the larger publishing companies, like the Big 5, that they usually buy your book straight out and you no longer have rights over it?
not necessarily, no.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes, but no, not necessarily. Yeah, no,
Oh,
most of them give. Well, it depends what you mean by that. Most of them will give royalties, but when a publisher publishes your book, they own the rights to it, if that's what you mean.
okay.
But they still pay royalties and all, but you can't go sell that book to somebody else if if you're with a publisher. They own the rights to that book. Is that what
Okay.
you're asking?
Yeah,
Or
I guess I was told that with, like, the larger publishing companies compared to a smaller publishing company, that when they buy your book from you, their contract is, like, 100% rights, like, you can't even, like, have any say over it anymore, and they can take it and literally rewrite the whole thing and distribute it how they want it, where if you go to a smaller publisher and you bargain for 50-50, they still can't change anything without asking you, even though you can't take it to another person to sell it.
yeah, that's sort of true. That's sort
Okay.
of true. I think with a big publisher that you have a good relationship with, you can have some input, but yeah, if they want to do something different, yeah, they
Okay.
will. Yeah, they require you to go along with what they want to do. That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And then okay, so we kind of just covered question 5. It was that is it better to publish with a local publishing house, bookseller, or searching for one that fits the novel? It's kind of the difference between like a big publisher and a smaller local one.
Well, right. Well, if you mean local to be close to where you are, you don't need somebody local. You can work with somebody. I would stay within the country, within the
Okay.
US, but
Yeah.
you could work with somebody across the country because you would pass things back and forth digitally, and there's
Oh.
no problem, for needing somebody right around your area. If
Okay.
when you say local,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
this
I
is
wasn't sure if like they prefer where you can meet them in person or if,
yeah, you might prefer that. Yeah, you might prefer that. Yeah. It's really hard to find somebody that you can really trust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is kind of nerve-wracking.
And you don't even when you feel like you can really trust them, they can be really expensive. Like, I won't say the name, but there's a Christian publisher that I would say should be very, very trustworthy, and I'm sure they are, but they're very expensive, and
Um,
you just make very little
yeah.
out of it. But
And then, some people have told me, like, you should pay for an editor ahead, especially if you're self-publishing, that makes sense. But, also, even if you go through a publishing house and they have editors, they still expect you to have had it already edited by another editor. And
yeah,
I've been given real, like, flip-flop information on that because people are like, "Oh, you never should have to pay for editing," and then other people were like, "You should definitely fork out money and pay for it ahead."
it's
So it's
variable. It depends on a couple things. Number one, how good you are, how
yeah,
good at editing you are. If you're pretty good, it's hard to see your own
yeah.
mistakes when you're editing. You just read through them, and it's very hard. But if you're an excellent writer, and if they want you badly enough, it's
Mhm.
how much can you bring to the table.
Okay.
If you want to, if you want to be accepted and you're borderline, then you better bring your best copy.
Yeah.
If you've got a great platform and they want you, they'll do your editing for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes
So
sense.
it really is variable.
Yeah.
I would think. I mean, I haven't worked for a big publisher, but I know that to be true. I know they do a lot of editing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, uh, how does book selling, like, even work? Is it a contract with the writer? Is there an outside publishing house from, uh, like, an outside publishing house that buys the book to a distributor? I don't think I said that right. And then, like,
Yeah.
face-to-face sales with customers. I know that's a little down more like ebooks and things.
Okay.
But
So what a publisher would do, they would take your book and they would go through the editing process. They would help it to be the best it could be. They would secure a printer. They would do pre-marketing, which is months and months and months in advance. They do a lot of marketing and they make all those connections then. A big publisher, not
yeah.
necessarily a quasi publisher that just decides they can help you. That would be almost more like a book packager.
Okay.
But but so then um, they would pursue the the distributors for you, and they would do the printing for you. So it kind of depends which kind of publisher you're talking about, that question,
Okay.
because the big publisher will do it all. The
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess then more like the smaller ones.
Yeah, the smaller publisher that some of them require you to do all your own editing or pay for your own editing. In fact, probably most of them would. And then but they would arrange for the printing and arrange for the digital. They would probably a smaller book for a new author. It depends what kind of author we're talking about, but
Mhm.
I'm assuming you might be talking about a new author.
Yeah.
Um, so a new author they would probably go print on demand. So you wouldn't need a printer. There's two major print on demand companies. There might be more than one, but there's two major ones in our country that are usually everything on print on demand is one of the two. And
Mhm.
basically they submit your manuscript actually as a PDF, a high resolution PDF,
Oh,
to the print on demand. And then when orders come in from distributors to the print on demand company, it's distributors, authors, whoever orders the book gets directed to the print on demand, and they print the order when it comes in. Then they send
oh,
it out.
interesting. So they
Yeah,
don't just have, like, stacks and stacks lying around, it's as it comes, they make it. Oh,
yeah. That's why publishing is now so easy for people to just do.
yeah,
It's not, because it
that
used to
would
be
seem
so
cheaper
expensive.
too, because you're not paying for 1,000 book copies, you're paying
Yes,
2
exactly,
free.
exactly. So I mean, on almost everything that unless the publisher knows or the author knows they're going to sell a boatload of books, they're going to do print on demand. I've
Okay,
got 4 books on print on demand right now.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's so neat. I
mhm,
never knew about that.
yeah.
Um, and then 7. How do booksellers choose their target audience and advertise books to potential buyers? So you already kind of told me like the writer really does most of the advertising.
Mhm.
So are booksellers particular on what type of books they take in? Do they have like their own little like these people like history books, these people like fiction books?
Sure, sure. Uh, that would be very typical that a publisher would specialize. There are some that would take in anything and they will just do anything.
Mm.
And they're kind of like cattle houses, or where they just come in and take anything and they just churn them out and do very little for you.
Okay,
Been
yeah.
a lot of lawsuits against some of the publishers who have done that sort of thing.
Hmm.
Um, but some specialize. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. And then what is a typical day of work like for you?
Well, in the past, I was working on new books, so I was working hard to get a book prepared, but I'm not doing that now because I haven't been taking new books. So now I'm just sort of maintaining, and if I get an order in, I will package it and fulfill it myself if it comes straight to the publisher. Otherwise, it'll go to print on demand, and so I have to do some accounting and all, but I'm not working really hard at publishing right now. I'm just maintaining the things that I have.
Oh, that's
And yeah, yeah.
yeah.
But I have another interest that I'm pursuing.
Oh.
That's why I'm not doing as much of the
Different one.
publishing. Yeah.
Sense. And then what are the benefits of being a bookseller? Does it make your selling your own books easier? Because you said like you work in the book selling. So
Mhm.
like
Um,
I'm sure the
well, if
knowledge
you
of
are actually selling your own books, if the orders come to the publisher, is that what you mean?
yeah, like if you're working for a publisher, it doesn't make it easier to sell your own books because of connections or just knowledge on how it works,
Um,
or not so much.
I don't it depends who you're working with and how much information they give you. I mean,
Mm,
if there are certain publishers that will help a little bit with marketing,
mm,
and quite honestly, the marketing is the really hard thing right now. I mean, publishing a book is a piece of cake. Anybody could publish a book,
yeah,
and a novice can learn how to do it and do it. And it's so easy now to publish a book. The hard part is the marketing,
yeah.
and it's reaching the audience that would be interested in your book, and it depends on if it's fiction or nonfiction. But
Okay.
finding those people that are interested in the types of things
Mm,
that you're writing is
yeah.
the hard part.
Okay.
So
And then, what are the most challenging sides of the job?
marketing,
Marketing. Back to that.
for
Okay.
sure, marketing.
Do you have any tips on how you think it's best to be done?
Yeah, right now, print is kind of out for right now, although it could be coming back. But right now, print marketing is very expensive, like magazine. When I first got into it, I was doing magazine ads and different things like that. Not anymore. It's all online,
Oh,
like
okay.
Facebook ads, and there's a whole system of finding people that are interested in what you do. And um, like ads, Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads. That's sort of the direction people are going. However, the big people that have a big establishment or have a big readership, I mean, they have an easier time because the publishers for people that are selling a whole lot of books have connections that the smaller person doesn't have. They have connections with distributors, and they can send things out to bookstores so they're on shelves and people see them on shelves. There's two kinds of marketing. There's push marketing and pull marketing.
Okay.
Push marketing is when you're out there pursuing people and saying buy, buy, buy. And pull marketing is when things are out there and you're call you're getting people to respond to your book and ask for it.
Oh,
So yeah. So it depends where you're at, but if you're somebody new, then I would say I've been taking a lot of classes on internet marketing, and it's really
mhm.
interesting. But that seems to be what's happening right now is internet marketing.
Okay. That
Yeah.
that makes sense. And
Somehow, you have to have a platform. That or speaking. Speaking is huge. You sell a lot of books if you're out speaking, if you have a topic
oh,
that you're speaking on or doing readings, like book readings in, the larger the audience, the better, or conferences, or, that's a good way to sell books. So personal appearance is probably one of the better ways.
okay, yeah. So they really get to know you, and they're like, oh, I
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Personal experience and book signings and book tours, they tend to do pretty well if you're known,
Yeah. Yeah, they've got to want you. They're not gonna be like, I don't know who you are. Don't come here.
Yeah. If they
Oh,
don't know you, you have to really go look for them.
oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
what you want to do is like meet their need. It's
Mhm.
like when you're selling anything, you've got to figure out what is it they want and need, and then you meet that through your book
Mm,
or through your speaking or whatever.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then with self-publishing, I had two questions. Does it matter who you go through? Because I know like some people like I personally wouldn't go through Amazon just because I've been told like don't go through them. Like if you go through them, you kind of get like blocked off from the rest of the publishing world.
Yes,
Um,
that's true. Yeah, they charge a lot if because they offer you an ISBN, the number that codes your book for purchases. But once they do, they own you in a sense. You can't take that elsewhere. So
right.
there's another company called Ingram Spark that a lot of people use, and that's who I use. That is not Amazon, but they
Oh,
sell to Amazon, so you still have your things on Amazon.
oh, cool.
But Ingram they have been a big, big print book publisher, and they are now also doing print on demand.
Oh,
And the
cool.
Ingram Spark, I think, is the part that's doing print on demand.
That's
Uh,
neat.
so
So with
Ingram Spark would be a place I would look if you're looking to do something, and they've
yeah,
got a lot of training yeah, and
okay.
they will supply Amazon too. They're a little bit more expensive to begin
Mhm.
with, but if you're established, they're not as expensive.
Okay.
Yeah,
And with established, you mean like if you have a
if
group
you're selling books.
of books? Okay.
Yeah, if you're successful.
And then another question, like I know bookstores, for the most part, aren't uh, super thriving, but they're still there and people still enjoy them, like Barnes and Noble and a couple others. Do they specifically contract with certain people to get the books that you find in there?
Actually, you would have a hard time getting your book unless they come in through a distributor.
Okay.
Barnes& and Noble only takes distributor books. I
Okay.
think maybe they have a section that is local authors or something they might, but to get it across all the Barnes& and Noble, it has to be done at a corporate level.
Okay. And that's like one of the big publishing houses that go to distributors.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious.
Mhm.
Yeah. Cool. And then I assume with self-marketing things, it would be totally cool to like find with other people to take your book to local bookstores, like little mom and pop ones, because I know there's still a few in our area here.
Yes, you can do that.
Be
Uh-huh.
like, "Would you display this?" I don't how does that work? Do you give it to them for free and then you split commission?
Um, yeah. What I have done in the past is wait till the end of the day and see how many sold, and then they buy those at 40 or 50%. The, you know, the,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
okay.
40% is what they might likely pay from a distributor. So
And that's 40% of
40 to
what
45.
you would charge for them or what they cost to be made? Or
It has nothing to do with that. It's
okay,
retail, 40 or 50% of retail, of whatever
retail.
you've established the retail price is.
All right.
And so they buy the books at either 40 or 45% or 50%. Some of the distributors charge 65%,
Okay.
and like I'm
And you're not making much, huh?
yeah, no,
Couple
it's
bucks.
not a hugely lucrative it's not a lucrative profession these days unless you're huge, you
Yeah.
know, unless you're really big and selling a lot of books, it isn't very lucrative. But
Yeah,
it's fun.
I'm mostly looking at it because I have a 10 book series that I wrote that I more wrote just to like help people for in their enjoyment. not really to
Mhm.
make money on it, though I would like them at least to pay for themselves being
Yes. Yeah,
printed.
of
So
course.
I don't
Yeah.
want to be giving out money, but I don't mind if I'm not taking much in because I'm actually gearing to be a graphic designer.
Oh, wonderful.
Finishing my
Yeah.
degree next semester in that. Yeah, I got a bachelor's in it.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So that's kind of a funny thing because I also know like graphic design, page layout, InDesign, actually all the programs that publishing houses use like
Right, right.
free. So when I
Yeah,
was thinking about self-publishing, I'm like the only thing I'd really need is maybe someone to help with marketing unless I have time to do it, or editor, simply because, like you said, you don't see your own mistakes. I've
right.
gone through the first book probably 20 times and I still read it and I'm like, what? There's a typo.
I
Like,
know. I know. It's so frustrating. And
uh,
then you send a book to a printer, it comes back, and you open it, and the first page you turn to, you find a mistake. And it's so frustrating.
yeah,
It's so frustrating.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So what you could do, well, actually, I used InDesign for all my books. That was
Okay.
my program of choice. And um, then, yeah, so then you use the high res PDF, the setting, and you could send that out. And you have to pay a little bit to get it set up. It's like, I think it was like $45 for the cover. Oh, you have to have the cover designed, which you could do if you're a graphic
Okay.
designer. So that you send the cover separately from the interior,
Okay.
and you pay, I think it was $45. It might have gone up, but it was $45 to submit the cover, $45 to submit the interior. So
Okay.
it's like $90. And then I think it's $12 a year to keep the book available on print on demand.
Okay.
That's what it was at uh, Ingram.
That's reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah, so you could do it for a couple $100, or I don't know what you'd probably have to pay a graphic designer, and pay
Yeah.
somebody to do marketing would be a lot. And you
Yeah.
also don't know what you get. Marketing people, they'll say they're going to do a lot, and
And then they
yeah,
don't, they just take your money.
yes, exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
I'd be leery of marketing people. I'd
Yeah.
be leery of anybody, to tell you the truth, because
It
every
yeah, sometimes it scares me to like give like the actual book to someone else to go through too, just because like ideas being
Mhm.
copied or taken or them just changing it. So
Yeah,
um I feel like with editors, do you think you'd have less of that problem? Like I already got them copyrighted. I
yeah,
did that a while
you did
ago.
copyright
Or
through
my
the
friends read them.
government, through the Library of Congress.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't worry so much about an editor, especially if they're not an author. They're not
Okay.
going to be looking for your material.
Right. Right.
And marketing, if they're not an author themselves, what the one thing they do say is even like join a group and like pass things around, but that's kind of scary too, because they could take ideas. But
Yeah.
people do that, and they get a lot of help, from other authors that read the
Yeah.
material. And yeah, but that's more risky
Yeah.
with other authors.
Yeah, I did. I ran a little book writing club for a while when I was in high school, which was fun.
Oh,
But it was all high school people, so no one was professional. But that was
yeah.
kind of fun because it was all people that we knew and could trust. It was about 15 of us, and we kind of would do that, pass it around, and give like advice, like, "Oh, this was good. You should improve this." Like, I didn't understand what you were trying to say there. Like,
Yeah.
but
Just get family and friends to read things. Find some people who are good readers,
yeah,
and them have them see if they'll read it, and you know make some comments to make sure that it was clear. And have you taken, are they fiction?
yeah, they're mostly fiction. They're
Mhm.
a little bit of a Christian allegory, but I wouldn't market them that way.
Mhm.
Um, I think that just comes through because I'm Christian, so any
Yeah.
morals I'm gonna put in there are gonna be what I believe.
Right.
But, uh,
Right.
for the most part, they're fiction. They're a little bit like Lord of the Rings. That's the
Uh-huh.
closest thing I can compare them to. They have, like, a medieval,
Oh,
like, side to them,
yeah.
but they're written more in a modern way than Lord of the Rings. Because obviously I'm not from Europe, and I didn't go through the war then, so
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Well, that
yeah.
sounds neat. Yeah. I would just one thing, if you put them up, you can always take them back down again.
Oh,
And
that's true.
and every time you edit, you do have to pay again if you take it down and then change and edit and resubmit it. You have to
Mm,
pay another like $45 or
okay.
whatever, but that's not that expensive.
Yeah.
if you find a bunch of things that you want to change. I mean, I would send the best that you've got at the time you've got it,
Yeah.
but and make sure it's clear. And if you've taken writing classes and your plotting is clear, and that's I'd be careful about that. That
Okay.
the people are understanding the your plot sequence things. And
Right.
yeah, I
Okay.
mean, some things are real complex, but it can't just be jumbled up, or
Right. It
people
still's got to
won't
be more
enjoy it.
simple to understand.
That's almost more important than the writing, I think, is that
Mm,
people understand the understand what's going on.
okay. Yeah.
Mhm. But that's just my opinion. I'm not an author. I'm not a fiction author, so
Yeah.
that comes from marketing clarity, from
Oh, yeah.
all the marketing classes I've taken. Then what the most important thing in
Oh.
marketing is clarity.
Mm,
So I would imagine that would be the same in books too.
yeah. Yeah. That's really neat. Um, and then with the self-publishing through the company you suggest, now they don't own it. Like if you took it out of theirs, you could go put it somewhere else,
Yes,
or
they don't own it.
because that's the reason why I hadn't tried any self-publishing, because I would love just to have a physical copy just for myself to start with. But
Yeah,
I was worried to put it through any of these like programs because I would read the fine print before I do anything, and it's like we own your work,
yeah,
and I'm like, what? I was like, no, delete, like not doing this.
yeah. Well, and in defense of that, it's like if they're going to put a bunch of work and time and money into doing your manuscript, and then you say, oh, never mind, and you go take it or do something else with it, they're just protecting themselves.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean, it's not that they're being shady. It's
Okay.
just that and when there's an so a work can only have one ISBN on it. You know
Mm,
what the ISBN is?
that's like the tracking number in a
Yeah,
sense.
it's a barcode, and it just really symbolizes that book has that barcode, and in that barcode is information like who the publisher is, and there's different bits of information in that barcode. And anything that goes through selling in a commercial sense, it has to have a barcode. You can't sell without a barcode.
Oh.
So with the ISBN,
Mm.
so um, when a publisher takes out an ISBN for your book, that is only for that publisher. You
Oh,
can't that that ISBN can't be sold to another publisher. So
okay.
that ISBN is only so therefore, I mean, that's just how it works. It's just how it
That's
works.
how
It's
people
not
tend
that the
to
publishers are being
mm,
um like I'm going to hang on to this. It's just that you can't have the same book unless it's printed in a different format. Every different format has a different ISBN number.
oh, okay.
So if you have an audiobook or a hardcover or a soft cover or a digital,
Yeah.
they all have a different ISBN number.
Oh, speaking of audiobooks, do you know anything about how audiobooks work?
I haven't, well, you submit them. I haven't done any
Okay.
audiobooks. I don't know that much about
I'm
audiobooks.
also taking an audio design class, and I'm gonna
Okay. You'd
take
know more than I would then. That's
okay, and it's the
uh,
recording part, and I was gonna try to do like a couple chapters for fun as an audiobook. And
yeah.
I was curious if there's any
Get a
way.
good microphone, like a
Yeah, I have that one.
Yeti. You have the
Yeah.
Yeti? Yeah. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Um, so you just get a good microphone and make sure it's consistent, every time you sit down, make sure it doesn't change from, segment to segment. But so yeah, I think you can record them yourself. I would assume. I haven't done it. I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's just kind of a fun idea. So,
Yeah, it does sound fun.
so.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. That was
You're
very helpful.
welcome.
I'm
You
very excited to share with my class.
well, good. Any other questions or
um,
thoughts?
I think that's it, unless you have any advice that you thought of that I haven't thought of in a question form to pass.
Uh, not, I mean, yeah, there's so much, and once you get into it, questions pop up. So the ISBNs are not cheap,
Okay.
actually. They're $30. Well, they're maybe more than 30 now. They were $30 a piece, or you could get 10 of them for 200. I think that was
Okay.
that cheaper. It was a little cheaper.
I
Yeah.
think, yeah.
But I don't know what they might have gone up. I haven't bought any for quite a while.
Okay. All
So
right.
it's best to buy
Where
them in a set.
where where do you even buy those from?
Go directly to Bowker, Bowker,
Okay.
Bowker, and it's through the Library of Congress. I mean,
Oh, okay.
so it's actually there's a new myidentity.com. Myidentity.com is, I
Okay.
think that's the name of it. Anyway, it's they set up ISBNs, and
Okay.
if you
And
have very much going on, I wouldn't order one at a time.
okay. Yeah, so just order a bundle, you're saying is
Yeah,
better.
order a bundle. If
And
you're
then what's the like benefit to those? If you're self-publishing, should you get one of those
Yeah,
or
yes, because
okay.
anytime any bookstore, and like if you and actually print on demand will expect it. You have no
Oh, okay.
choice because
So
they sell to bookstores.
yeah.
You know, they're a distributor in themselves and will distribute. So if somebody, they'll sell to Amazon, they sell to a wide variety of bookstores. So yeah, so it has to have an ISBN.
So that would be like a first step before I'd go to that other what was it? Linsky? No, that's not what you said. The
Mm,
the
with-
spot to self-publish that you said was a good one to go through.
oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'd go and do some research, but yeah, before you submit or before you would need your ISBN before you at the time you do the printing of your book, or
Okay.
with any advanced sales information to any if you know if you're working with any advanced sales information you
Okay.
have there's they might require all those things, but usually the print on demand you don't really do that much advanced marketing.
Okay. So I
uh,
could still like
Maybe it's changed, maybe there are avenues to do that now, but
okay.
yeah.
I could still get that set up where like a friend could have it printed on demand and sent to their house without the barcode. But if
Mm,
I wanted to go to any no,
no,
you still need it. Okay.
you either do, yeah, no, you need it.
Okay. So that would be a first step that I would want to check before I move on to
If you want to print copies without a barcode and print prints and just have them in your garage, you can do that, but
okay.
you can't sell them through any store or
Oh,
through yeah, anybody that would use a cash register or, yeah, any sort of store thing, they all require barcodes.
okay. That
Yeah,
makes sense. They need to scan them somehow to track it. So,
yeah, yeah. It just kind of keeps the whole business. Like every country has a different opening number, like the barcode, the ISBN, the first number I think is the country code. And like, where's if I had a book handy? I don't have one handy. Anyway, I forget what our country code is, like '01 or something.
okay.
Anyway, um, so each one of those different segments, yeah, go and like just look up ISBN or go to Bowker. They tell you all about it, what it all means. What, but yeah, if you're serious about really wanting to get some books out there, for sure, do the barcode. I mean, if you just want it for your own family use and a few close friends, you can go to Shutterfly. Well, that's really, that would be for print for.
Yeah, I think my friend's mom mentioned that once. But she just does books for her class she teaches. So that's why she doesn't care about the rest.
Yeah, if you want to sell books on any kind of a scale beside just out of
Handing them
your
out.
house or something, it just gives it also so much more of a professional feel and professional look.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not required. And actually, Amazon, I think Amazon, well, they provide the barcode if you just stay within Amazon. But
Mhm.
then you have to stay within Amazon. If it gets bigger, you're stuck.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's the thing. I'd want the option where if it did, which would be great, not that it will, but got bigger, I want the option where I'm not hooked in with
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
contract
That's
or
really good. Actually, the KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing, that has changed since it used to be called Create Space, Amazon
uh-huh.
Create Space, and that's where you'd go in and create things. So maybe the KDP has changed now. I haven't really looked at it. It was a couple years ago. I haven't done anything for a little while, so
to like read the fine print on that one.
Yeah, I would. You could read about KDP and see what they do. That's the Amazon print on demand now. It's
Okay.
the Create. The old Create Space was much more limited compared to Ingram.
Oh, okay.
So
All right. Thank you.
you're welcome. You're
Great.
welcome. Good. Best wishes to you. I'm excited about your graphic design.
Thank you. Yeah, I am too. Only 4 more classes and I'm done.